My love letter got delivered 15 years too late, and now it's causing huge issues. That's the highlighted story of the day, but first, let's take a look at a brother-in-law issue that's pretty major. We had a party last night. My brother-in-law, Chris, attended. He's 10 years younger than my husband. Near the end of the party, around 2 a.m., I was in the kitchen cleaning up. He was out on the deck talking to Jennifer, a woman Chris graduated with who lives nearby. They've both been drinking. The porch door was open, so even though I wasn't eavesdropping, it was impossible not to hear what they were saying. Chris was flirting with her. He kept complimenting her, saying how beautiful and pretty she is, etc. I guess at one point she pulled up his Facebook and saw that he has a girlfriend. He said that she was lovely, and Jennifer said, "Thank you. It looks like your girlfriend's lovely as well." Chris started saying how they were going through something right now. They weren't technically together. It was an open relationship. Everything he could think of. Jennifer was being really cool about it. She kept saying thank you and how she appreciated his compliments, but she wasn't interested. He was getting kind of annoyed, and at one point he said, quote, "I bet if I was my brother, you'd have no issues with this." Jennifer said, "Your brother is actually loyal. He wouldn't cheat on his wife." To which Chris replied, "My brother cheats on his wife all the time." Jennifer replied she doubted that was true, and Chris said that he ducked someone he worked with and that he was, quote, planning to duck her as well. And that clearly his plan was working since Jennifer idolizes my husband. At this point, Jennifer told him he was acting out of line and needed to go sober up and walked away. Chris came storming into the kitchen and saw I was there. He told me something along the lines of how, quote, all of that shit he said was true, and how my husband, quote, never gets held accountable, and he then proceeds to go into the garage and have a huge screaming fight with my husband. In the fight, Chris said that he did not deserve anything he had, and my husband had forced Chris to keep his dirty secrets. My husband said that Chris was a liar, who wanted to ruin my husband's life since he was jealous that he's better off in life than Chris is. For some relevant context here, Chris was struggling a lot a few years ago, while my husband and I were buying a house, having our first child, etc. And I know he harbors some resentment from that time. It ended with my husband kicking Chris out. He immediately told me everything Chris said was a lie and that he was just trying to cause chaos. But when I woke up this morning, Chris had texted me about 20 pictures and videos that were screenshots and screen recordings of conversations between my husband and Chris, talking about how he's gotten drunk and slept with a coworker years ago. Conversations between the two of them about Jennifer that were overtly sexual and showed that he was clearly planning to, at least, try to hook up with her. There was even photos included in these messages. My husband said they were all faked, and he said my brother-in-law has been planning this for quite some time. I know it's easy to fake a screenshot of a conversation, but there were screen recordings too, as in I could see the Messenger app open, and him clicking on the conversation and everything. The recent conversations matched the recent conversations in my husband's phone, but my husband doesn't have any of the incriminating messages, as my brother-in-law does. Are screen recordings something you can fake? And any other advice on what I should do here is really appreciated. Well guys, here's the update. My husband and I both went over to my brother-in-law's. My husband was remaining adamant that he's never sent those messages or cheated on me. When we got to Chris's house, he was able to provide the screenshots and screen grabs, but not the actual messages. He claimed he deleted the messages after he got the SS for storage reasons on his phone. Even so, my brother-in-law insisted that the screenshots were real and that my husband just deleted the messages off of his phone. My husband and I went as far as to go online and check our itemized bill. There are days where my brother-in-law has screenshots where, according to our phone bill, my husband never texted him that day, or even the days before or days following for that matter. I don't know why my brother-in-law had these fabricated conversations, nor when he was planning to, quote, reveal them, or if he just made them up to have just in case, I don't know, for blackmail or to threaten him. He used an app to create them. We did not get much out of him as for a reasoning, and we're going to go very low contact with my brother-in-law for the time being. I thought his and my husband's relationship was getting better, but it's clearly not. For what it's worth, the coworker that my husband apparently, quote, slept with was 3 days postpartum with her and her husband's third child, when my brother-in-law claims that's when the affair happened. What a gigantic mess of a story. This brother-in-law is extremely vile. Let me know in the comment section down below if any of you have had any similar run-ins with a brother-in-law or an in-law story that you would like to share. Our highlighted story coming out now is absolutely crazy. It's about a love letter that gets lost in the mail, but is miraculously delivered 15 years later. And guys, some crazy stuff happens after that. Let's check it out. A couple days ago, I was at the office about to knock off when Clive, my older brother, suddenly showed up with his wife Willow. Not only was it strange because they never visit my workplace, but it was also during a busy time, and they've not called me beforehand. My sister-in-law looked very upset and asked me to stay away from her sister because she was happily married. According to her, I was trying to charm her sister who wanted nothing to do with me. I found it strange that they would even suggest that anything was going on between me and her. I knew she was a married woman. I'm also happily married, so I have no reason to step outside my marriage. My brothers mentioned something about a letter that I sent to her, explaining in detail how I really loved her and could not stop thinking about her. I did not remember sending such a letter to her, so thought that he must have been playing a prank on me. But then he showed me a picture of this said letter, and suddenly I knew what was going on, and I started laughing. This got them even madder at me, but I was laughing because it was all a big misunderstanding. Because of the post office messing up. I now knew why she had not responded to my letter 15 years ago. And that was one of the things that led to our breakup. That and the fact that she cheated on me. I'm now 33 years old, married, and staying in the same town I've always stayed in. I also have a stable job. About 15 years ago, when we were both 18, I was in love with a girl called Fiona. We did not tell anyone about our relationship because she was a popular girl and I was not very popular. So, we snuck around and communicated mostly by way of letters. When I sent that letter, she was on an away trip, and she's given me the address of her parents' summer house. That house ended up becoming hers and her later husband's permanent home. I guess when I sent the letter, I thought she had ignored it and did not want to be with me. When she returned, she started hanging out with another guy and did not talk to me. Then she went and dated my worst enemy, who was the most popular guy at school and also my bully who made my life difficult. They became the stereotypical high school sweethearts with a white picket fence life. In time, I got over it and moved on with my life. Then, my older brother and her sister actually ended up dating and then got married. No one knew that we were ever in love, and we kept our distance from each other. We did not think it was even necessary for anyone to know, especially our spouses. I tried to explain the full story but did not get very far, because Clive's wife was very upset at me and said that it had better be a prank, and then they both left. I was not very worried and figured I would explain, and everyone would find that it's very funny. But Things quickly worsened for me after that visit. My wife came home looking very upset a while later, with the whole mess I'd forgotten about her. I asked her what was up, and she showed me that picture and asked me why I was sending love letters to another woman. I think that was when I knew that the situation has gotten a lot stickier than I thought. I did not think that they would go as far as to tell my wife. I told her that I did not love that woman, but she said that I did way worse than cheating. She was upset with me because I never told her I was once involved with Fiona. She assumed that I was trying to date Fiona again behind her back. She shouted at me when I tried to speak in my defense. Then, after that, she left and told me that she was going to her mother's place. I sent her a message telling her everything, but she opened it and did not reply. Her mother told me to leave her alone, and her siblings cursed at me for being, quote, disgustingly behaved. No one wanted to give me a chance to explain it all. I saw that I had a missed phone call from an unknown number. I called the number back and it was Fiona's husband. I denied it many times, but he did not want to listen to me. He said the letter was dated last month and the stamp was new as well. I decided to call someone who could probably assist me at the post service, so I could get the man off my back. The fact that he was not in town was such good luck for me. Otherwise, I had a feeling I was going to get a free trip down memory lane from him. It was past hours, so I had to wait until the following morning. I've already given up on trying to explain to my brother and sister-in-law. They believed him and thought that I was cruelly in love with his wife. John was a tool, and I hoped that he would not come after me. When I was in high school, I feared going to school because of him. He beat me up, called me names, stole my stuff, etc. She knew all about it, which was why I was surprised when she stopped talking to me and started dating him. But it is her life now. She's married to that bully and has his children. I see the way he's so controlling over his family and gets jealous of the smallest stuff. Everyone fears him because he has never stopped being a bully. The next morning, I went to the UPS in my town, where I had posted my letter last. I gave them all the details that I could remember, and I was told that indeed the letter has been posted a few days ago. I was curious about how such a mess had been made, and the lady who was helping me said that she thought the letter had gotten buried underneath other packages and never got delivered. She was very surprised and asked me what the letter said, and I got a bit embarrassed. I now realize that I did not fully say what the letter was, and why it was such bad news for me. The letter was very detailed. I wrote about my fantasies involving her, and how I could not wait to see her again. I was young, in love, and thought I was very good with words, and just wanted to impress her. But then there were also some very explicit things I said, and I mentioned a birthmark she had that was not visible. Back then, it would have probably been sweet, but when I read it again in present, I felt a bit, sick. I guess it's because of how I do not think of her or see her in that way anymore. She's almost like a sister to me, and the thought of her reading my stupid ramblings is honestly very embarrassing. Anyways, the lady said that no one checked the contents of the letter. They just replaced the envelope and posted it. I left the place feeling very mad. There was nothing much I could do now that the damage was done. I wonder why it's not been sent back to the sender if they saw that it was a decade late. But according to the lady, my address was barely visible, so they sent it to the only visible address, Fiona's summer house. And it was just my good luck that her husband read the letter. My trip to the USPS was such a waste because I had no proof that the letter was sent late, and because I am one of those people who do not write the year in a letter, it might as well have been sent last month. Even after 15 years, the letter looked fresh from the pictures that I saw. That morning, I was harassed by several of my and Fiona's family members and could not even do any work. No matter how much I tried to explain, they all thought that I was stalking her. I was called things I never imagined I would be called, like a pervert, a peeping Tom, etc. I kept on explaining that it was all a huge misunderstanding and that I respected her. But no one wanted to believe me and accused me of trying to break her marriage to John for my own selfish gain. Fiona's mom was very hurtful and told me that Fiona was denying having anything to do with me in high school. I was hurt that even after all these years, she was ashamed to be linked to me. If she just told the truth, then I would be off the hook, but for some reason, she'd not responded to any of my messages from the past few days. I stopped texting her after her brother came over to my place and punched me, telling me to stay away from her. It was a good thing that the security guy was present and managed to get him off me before he hurt me too badly. I had a feeling that her husband was going to be the next person to pay a visit, and I was not sure that I would be able to survive it. My wife refuses to talk to me, but from what her mother says, she's lost all trust in me and feels betrayed by my actions. I've only spoken to her once after she left the house, and I can tell she's very pissed off. There was a family meeting where John and Fiona were present, my brother and his wife, my wife, and the rest of the family. I explained to everyone that I was involved with her when we were both 18, and the letter just arrived many years late. I even told them that they could ask the lady at the USPS, but I was ignored. John told me that he felt sick when he read everything that I wrote about his wife, and thought she was cheating on him with me. John has always looked down to me even after he stopped bullying me. We pretty much hate each other. I defended myself and asked Fiona to tell everyone the truth, that I did not try to harass her. She lied about everything. She denied ever having been in love with me or sharing any romantic letters. I have a theory of why she did this, and I think it's because of how her and her husband is such a bully. I think she was scared of being accused of having an affair with me because she had a lot to lose. I tried to reason with her, but some of the women in the family told me to stop trying to convince her or scare her. They told me how my behavior was problematic and causing problems in her marriage, and the people were now making fun of our family because of me. When I say that no one believed me, I mean no one. Everyone, even people who have known me for years, were so quick to believe the words of the bully, and you have no idea how sad that made me feel. I think that he knew I was telling the truth, but he always hated me, so he would do anything to hurt me. My mom was the only one in the whole family who was taking my side and trying to reason with them. But she's the only one who spoke up, and it did not help. She ended up being silenced like me. My reputation in the community was pretty much ruined because people thought I was a creep who was obsessed over married women who did not want me at all. My wife just sat there and listened to their lies while I tried to, but failed to explain myself. Then, my sister-in-law suggested that they lodge a case of harassment against me. I did not know what they wanted from me anymore, and I was shocked at how seriously they were taking that letter. I felt that this was taking it a bit too far. I've not touched her or made any advances towards her in a decade and a half. I told them that they could take me to court if they wanted to, but they would also be facing their own defamation of character lawsuit. They had no proof, and who was to say I was the one who even wrote the letter? I was so prepared to go to war with them. I was getting upset over being blamed and having my name dragged through the mud, all because of them. My marriage was hanging on by a thread, and I was branded a pervert, and now they wanted me to get sent to jail? And then, Fiona was quick to say that there was no need to get the police involved. I saw the look of panic on her face, and I knew that she was scared of getting exposed. She knew the truth, but she would have rather saved herself than told the truth. I said she did not want the police involved because she knew I was innocent. Then, her husband tried to beat me up right then and there. He managed to land a 1-2 McGregor punch uppercut, but did not get too far. Luckily, the other people present were able to get him off me. But after that, I left before he tried anything else. On the bright side, I did not lose my job over the whole thing. My employers did not want to get involved in the whole mess, as long as there was not going to be any court case. My wife says that she's unsure about who to believe, and she needs some time to think and, well, be alone. I completely understand that and hope that with time she's able to believe me. I understand where most of these people are coming from with this whole thing. They want to protect a woman who they feel's been preyed on. They just don't know or see that they're being led astray by her husband, who cannot stand the idea that I might have been involved with her oh so many moons ago. If I could be honest, I wish I could go back in time and not even date her in the first place. She's an example of the past coming back to bite you in the butt. Her husband's not letting this go. He did tell me that he wants to beat me up. He has this group of gym buddy friends that he hangs out with, and some of them used to be bullies. The family drama's not ended since no one can even seem to agree on whether I'm telling the truth or not. This could all be avoided if she just admitted the truth, but I think that now she's scared that people will call her a liar. I do not know how this whole situation's going to go. I really think he will physically attack me if he gets the chance to. So far, I've been very careful about going out and interacting with people. My family wants me to admit to stalking and apologize so we could just move on. That's not an option for me, because I do not want to be labeled a pervert. Nor do I want to let my wife believe that I would have eyes for anyone else other than her. This week has been crazy, and I do not know or what to even think to do to fix it. If John even gets a chance to be in the same room as me, I know that I'm a goner. I'm thinking of going the legal route to get them to leave me alone as well. I don't want to lose my family, but this all seems like something I cannot get out of. What do you guys think I should do? Drop your comments below. Guys, the second there's an update for this story, I'll post it here. That story was insane. I kept feeling more and more bad for OP as the story went on, and I just couldn't believe what a toxic situation and a mess this has become. How in the world does a letter get lost for 15 years, and it's still in good enough condition to ship in the USPS? I don't know. Drop your thoughts down below of this story and your comments. I love to read all of them. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new here, as Mr. Reddito does daily videos across 2 channels. So smash that subscribe button, have a wonderful night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.